Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday, everybody. I'm Tom. I'm a stop-motion artist, bringing Godzilla's multiverse of kaiju to life through epic animations, comic breakdowns, power rankings, and more. If you love monsters, motion, and mayhem, you're in the right place. Sean, good to see you, my friend. It's been about a week. Last week was quite the doozy. It was like, what, a 5-hour, 6-hour stream? My voice needed some much needed rest for that weekend. Oh man, so the initial idea was that this was just going to be like an Ask Me Anything Q&A, just a chill stream. I thought about like working on my current stop motion project, which I hope to get to later. But then there's been so much news, recent developments that I'm like, man, if I'm gonna stream, I gotta talk about it. Excuse me. Let's see what's the deal here. I thought I had revised it so the chat would show up, but clearly I'm like, maybe while others show up or so before I get started, I can try and get this to work. Man, it actually like lets me, ooh, when did they change this? I can actually interact. Let me try this. Let me try something. Oh no, it's not letting me do it. Alright, well, you know what? We'll just leave that for now. Hey, Abdullah! Aw, love you too, man. Appreciate it. That's very kind of you. So, yeah, before I was distracted by, you know, possibly once again trying to, you know, revise my whole setup here, there's been recent news, breaking news in a way, of upcoming Godzilla projects and beyond that I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna stream. I got my voice back. This will not be a 5-6 hour stream. Those are, I'm sure, on the horizon, possibly sooner than you think. I have a lot in store for you guys in the next few weeks and month to come. I mean, it's the summertime, so I have I got more free time than usual. I'm not a student. I'm actually a teacher, staff. I work in public education, so we have the summer break is here, so I can like spend more time both with my family, but also like being able to really do what I love. And yeah, I want to share all that, and I cannot wait. There's just so much to talk about, and I think we should just start getting to it. What do you guys say? Oh no, I made the mistake of looking back at the chat thing on my thing. Am I gonna go for it? Am I gonna try? I can multitask, right? I could totally multitask, right? Let's see. No, that's not right. Lots of clicking here and there. Sean says, I'm just going to say this. Gojira is still the best Godzilla film. Yes, even better than Shin or Minus One, and that's a hill I'm willing to die on. You know what? I mean, as far as Hill's, dying on, Sean, I don't think that's a bad hill to die on at all. I personally think Godzilla Minus One is the best Godzilla film made yet, but like, who am I to like speak ill of the 1954 original masterpiece? I mean, it's extremely well made, and even now I feel like now, the older I get, the more time between the last time I watched it and then when I watch it again, it grows on you. There's just so much to it that's like, it truly is like one of those unforgettable classics that were not only light years ahead of its time, but a great representation of its time, of what Japan was going through during the post-war era. It opened so many doors for foreign films, comics, the work to receive more of a massive global release, especially in the West. And I'd say pop culture as we know it today is all the more better for it. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. I am still trying to see if I can like this. I mean, I might as well try and revise this now, guys, because usually when I do it, when I'm not streaming, there's no one here for me to check and see how things are. So, let's see if I can make this work out better. Oh, that's interesting right there. Alright, something seems to be happening. We're watching the chat manifest. And then there was silence as Tom ran out of bandwidth and could not multitask if his life depended on it. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone for now. I'm sure I'm going to see something else in just a second that's going to make me go, okay, well, you know what? You need to revise that as well, because it bothers me. I mean, I could do the whole, it doesn't bother me. It does not bother me. It bothers me. It bothers me a lot. But, well, here we are. Okay, so let's get to the news. So before I start, of course, please consider joining me on Instagram. That's where I share screen grabs of my stop motion projects. So yeah, I do dabble more in just stop motion, but toy photography as well. So if you have an Instagram account, consider giving me a follow on there. Also, please consider supporting the channel. I mean, you could do something, the best way to support the channel is by liking. You can leave a comment. If you want to go further, you can consider donating, becoming a member, or, just being here works for me too. Okay, so source from a Bloomberg article there is some news concerning upcoming Godzilla projects. I'm going to read the article now. A turning point came in 2023 with the film Godzilla Minus One. Toho was able to make and distribute the Japanese language movie itself, bypassing the Hollywood studios that serve as gatekeepers to US theaters. It was produced for a relatively low $15 million. Gonna stop reading for a second. That has been seriously called into question. It's kind of one of those things where I think the director Yamazaki Higuchi, oh gosh, I just fiddled his name. So Yamazaki said something to the effect of like, I wish I had $15 million or something, but it's questionable. But for now, it kind of the main point of reminding everyone that Godzilla Minus One had won an Academy Award for Best VFX despite having such a low budget compared to all these Hollywood blockbusters that have hundreds of millions of dollar budget, but their VFX look bad because they typically treat their VFX artists like shit, or they don't really give them enough time to work their movie magic. Anyway, I'm going to continue reading. It was produced for a relatively low $15 million, then went on to generate $114 million globally and earn an Oscar for visual effects. That success has underpinned the company's current mantra to own more of its content like Netflix, Nintendo, and Sony. Building on Godzilla Minus One's performance, Toho is planning a sequel for as soon as next year, plus a potential sequel to the film Shin Godzilla and a still untitled Southeast Asia-focused project. With Legendary, it's also co-producing a second season of Monarch, Legacy of Monsters for Apple TV Plus for next year. Okay. So first, let's get into it. We haven't received full confirmation on Shin Godzilla 2 yet. Now, in fairness to the article I just read, it didn't exactly say this was for sure happening either. This could very well just be Toho is looking into it and considering it, but we shall see. Now, something tells me we're absolutely going to find out for sure soon, because Toho is hosting panels at the San Diego Comic-Con. They have a presence there, which absolutely is awesome. Godzilla having a huge presence at Comic-Con, not just a Comic-Con, but the Comic-Con, is a great sign. Toho has absolutely come a long way. Like, I'm a lot older than I look. I was there throughout the early 2000s, actively watching as Toho would, despite give us some memorable films during the Millennium era, still felt kind of like it's just the status quo again and again. And they kind of weren't like taking big risks here and there, but now we're seeing so much has changed. They have truly, I think the article, what it touched upon was there was something there that was really important. And it says right here, and I'm just going to read it again, Toho wants to own more of its content. Not only own it, they want to they want to expand it. Godzilla Minus One's success changed everything. I even, predicted this, not to brag, but I'm going to brag. I have a video that's up right now that talks about how Godzilla Minus One changes everything. This is it. This is Kaijutopia's prediction coming to fruition. I like the sound of it. I should copyright that. Put that on a shirt. But man, I think we're gonna find out more real soon, and it's gonna be at San Diego Comic-Con. It's possible that Toho was planning on announcing that they're going to do Shin Godzilla 2 after the Godzilla Minus One sequel. And they were planning on possibly unveiling that announcement at Comic-Con. But of course, now, you know, early break in the news, someone got wind of it. That's my prediction. Obviously, that could change. But now the real question. Should there even be a Shin Godzilla sequel? Let me rephrase that, because I honestly don't know, because I would much rather know if, you know, the original creators are coming back. I would like to have a better, notion of just what sort of movie it's going to be, because just because it's a sequel doesn't mean it's going to be exactly the same. They could throw a curveball at us and it's completely different. I have no idea. So I guess to rephrase that question, like, when I think about Shin Godzilla, I thought it was a solid, standalone, self-contained story. It did end on a shocking cliffhanger. But it was so shocking, but it was so well done. I don't even think the ending to Shin Godzilla could even, is just, bound to being a cliffhanger. What I mean by that is, it actually works as a great ending. It brings closure, because it absolutely captured the whole theme, the point of the movie. And I can't wait to talk more about Shin Godzilla as well, because there's this interesting idea that I had for a video that I'm working on the script now, and I'm looking more into it. But basically, the pitch is, whether or not Shin Godzilla did he evolve? Is he controlling his own mutation because he feels so much pain and loneliness? And is that why, in the end, spoiler alert for a 2016 movie, and I'm assuming if you're a Godzilla fan and you're here, I'm assuming you have seen it. However, Godzilla at the end of that movie looked like he was just about to essentially become a new race of Godzilla human hybrids. And my question is, did he do that because he felt lonely, and this was one way for him to no longer feel not only immense physical pain brought on by radiation, by his cells constantly mutating, but also, is he doing this because he is trying to escape loneliness? So that's something I'm working on. But anyway, back to the whole point of this video. Do I think Shin Godzilla should have a sequel? Personally, I think the first movie, I'm already calling it the first movie, was great as being its own thing. I thought it had a great beginning, middle, and end. Everything congealed nicely. I mean, the movie itself is great. It's absolute. I can see why some consider it polarizing, but to me, it's just such a great modern day Godzilla movie that both is a great sort of reminder of the classic Godzilla mythos, like he's a metaphor of nuclear Armageddon, but at the same time, there's so much more to Godzilla than just how, he was originally depicted, because he's changed with the times. If anything, to me, Godzilla represents change, and Shin Godzilla embodied that. Still, having said all that, despite the fact that I think Shin Godzilla should remain a standalone film, if they make a Shin Godzilla 2, will I see it? Absolutely yes. Mothra be thy name. Who do you think I am? Of course I would see it. I mean, I'm planning on seeing this again because there's supposed to be a limited 4K release of Shin Godzilla in the United States, so I'm going to do my best to see that, because hell yeah. Oh, Sean said, I follow you everywhere. I really liked your Burning Godzilla versus Space Godzilla picture on Twitter. Burning Godzilla blowing off Space Godzilla's shoulder crystal is pretty accurate on how it would go. Sean, thank you so much for following me, especially on other platforms. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, that is a screen grab from my stop motion movie Space Godzilla Prodigal Son. I highly recommend it, as I believe it's, to this day, my best one yet. Alright, so Moving on. Godzilla Minus One sequel. It is coming next year. Takashi Yamazaki, there, I knew I could say it. Director, VFX artist, writer of Godzilla Minus One. Takashi Yamazaki is indeed returning, or I should say he's already returned. They've been working on this, I'm sure, non-stop for the last who knows how long. Godzilla only knows. And similar to Shin Godzilla, I was a little, and still am a little apprehensive, reluctant about this getting a sequel. Because I felt like Godzilla Minus One is such a, like, it's not only a great Godzilla movie, the best Godzilla movie in my opinion, it's just a great film. Similarly to how the first Godzilla movie is not only a great Godzilla movie, it is a great film, a cultural phenomenon. It changed so much, right? And I felt like Godzilla Minus One, similar, like just exactly following in the massive footsteps of the 1954 original, Godzilla Minus One has indeed changed everything. Not only for Godzilla, but for the kaiju genre. And I would say, going even further, for Toho as a company. So this is coming next year. Obviously, that might change. Maybe they might push it back. And honestly, I think they should take as long as they need, because if you have, well, first, I guess in Takashi Yamazaki, we trust. I trust that man. I have been an admirer of his art, of his form, of his vision for many years now. I mean, as far back as Returner, a great action-packed thriller, that movie. It's so fun. If you haven't seen Returner, you should totally check that out. But yeah, so Godzilla Minus One. As far as sequels go, I really don't know what they're planning on doing. I mean, I've heard some rumors of Hedorah the Smog Monster possibly being the antagonist, the monster Godzilla will fight. This seems to be a rumor that stems from something Takashi Yamazaki himself has said, or at least he has stated that he would like to do a movie with Hedorah in it. Sorry, I had to take a sip there. I think, yeah, absolutely, why not? I mean, Hedorah receiving the Godzilla Minus One treatment would absolutely be terrifying, if I don't say. But yeah, I don't really have too much to add on this one. It's kind of a, I'm going to wait and see, you know, how things develop from here on out. But as much as, again, similarly to how, like I said, I'm going to be the first one to see Shin Godzilla 2, despite thinking a sequel is unnecessary. I will absolutely watch the Godzilla Minus One sequel as well. But see, Takashi Yamazaki is doing more than just giving us another potentially award-winning Godzilla film. He's also giving us a sequel to Godzilla the Ride. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen it or if you're familiar. There are clips available throughout the internet. You can find it where it's basically pre-Minus One Godzilla. I guess you could call it like the main template for the Minus One design. And it's basically a ride. It's like a theme park where you go through a city, and it looked like it took place in, like, I mean, you get on in a, if memory serves, you're even on a hot air balloon as you're trying to escape monster carnage and stuff. I mean, I don't know why anyone would want to, because monster fan here, I'm all over it. I am absolutely going to try and take a selfie with that Godzilla. Will he stomp me? Yes. Will I likely die immediately or in some way? Sure, but it's going to be worth it, right? Well, so now we have another Godzilla the Ride coming. And it pits Godzilla up against Mechagodzilla. And immediately I realized this Mechagodzilla looks like he's modeled after one of those, you know, when you look through concept art, concept design of Godzilla, especially Godzilla Minus One, like what he could have looked like, what they were thinking about, what they were thinking about originally going with, and I think they made the right choice with the design they ultimately went with. But Mechagodzilla here does look like one of those unused Godzilla Minus One designs, just, mechanized. And this is just an awesome shot. This has me hooked. Now, am I going to be able to go to Japan and ride on the ride itself just to witness this awesomeness? Nope, not anytime soon, but I'm sure they, will be able to see what it's like. I mean, something will show up on YouTube, I'm sure. And if Toho is smart, I think they should try and find a way to take some of the take the video from Godzilla the Ride, and of course this upcoming one as well, Godzilla the Ride, Great Clash, and convert it into like a mini movie. It's kind of similar to how like every year during their November Godzilla Fest, not to be confused with the G-Fest convention here in the States, but once a year now it seems to have become a tradition for Toho to give us these awesome short Godzilla movies. Some of them are like CG, like Godzilla vs. Gigan Rex, or they're classic, traditional tokusatsu styled movies that just kept getting better and better. Like the most recent one with Jet Jaguar, Godzilla, they team up against King Ghidorah and such, and it was really good. And so like, man, I feel like Toho should, because they're expanding, I don't know why they still haven't, given a full, release of not only the Godzilla Fest short movies. I understand there's like a compilation of them available on eBay and such. You can find them, but I'm not talking bootlegs. I'm talking about an official release and such. Or just put them all back on their YouTube channel. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I do think that's what they should do for these Godzilla the Rides. You can both have it be the main, attraction for your ride. It's a great idea, and it looks like it's really paying off for them. But I also feel like, man, expand that, convert that into like a short movie as well. You'll make more money, and it'll also be great because fans who cannot afford a trip to Japan can, participate and enjoy what you've made. Sean says, the history and the impact of the original Godzilla film had, I don't think will ever be trumped. It's a masterpiece created by people directly affected by the real-life horrors of nuclear war. Very well said, Sean. Very well said. He does say, it would be an honor to be killed by Godzilla. I guess it depends on the Godzilla, though, right? If it's GMK Godzilla, you kind of run the risk of becoming a soul trapped in his purgatory. Like, GMK Goji is both kind of scary and evil, but also sad as well, but... Oh, Kevin, hello, good to see you. Do you still toys with your son or play toys with my son? It's very adorable. Absolutely. My son, I'm pleased to say, is not only a massive kaiju fan, but he also is finally reaching the point where he is willing to share, and so he and I can, act out some of our favorite Godzilla fights. He usually tends to do it himself. He'll grab his Godzilla and Kong and be like, Dada, I want to see Godzilla Kong fight Scar King and Shima. And so he'll grab those toys, and I'll put it on for him, and he'll act out. He'll it's like he'll act out the choreography and maybe add a couple other things, of course. But it's really adorable, and I love it. I love Hiya toys, but I'm waiting for the American stocks for new figures, especially the classic Toho ones. Yeah, I mean, you and me both. I mean, I love Hiya, but you know what I mean. I love Hiya toys, and I'm just waiting for more of them to become available, but real world current events is making that difficult. And Kevin also says, I feel like we need a new kid-friendly Godzilla film, or films. You know what? I didn't include this in today's slideshow, but I thought I read somewhere that Toho is also looking into doing that. I think one of its, I think it was one of the CEOs or one of the heads of the company mentioned that's kind of the direction they want to go, where they want to make something a bit more appealing to families, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm really hoping that Godzilla the Ride Great Clash works out. It looks great. I mean, it's called Great Clash, so it's good that it looks great. But I gotta say, the Mecha Godzilla design here is so awesome. So Toho, if you're not gonna do what I say, and I don't know why you wouldn't, because I'm such I know what I'm talking about clearly. I am absolutely not a hack YouTuber. I think you absolutely should try and find a way to take these videos and make them more available online. But if you end up not doing that, at the very least, help a Godzilla toy collector out. That Mecha Godzilla looks like it should not only be on my shelf, but also a prop, an actor in a future Kaijutopia stop motion. So think about it. That would be great. Now there's this unknown Southeast Asia project, and I'm sure you guys have seen this by now, but it basically takes a sort of it's Godzilla Minus One, the design, but there are key differences. For example, he's not as hideously burned in some places, and his dorsal fins, his spikes, are way more jagged and kind of look more like kind of a classic Godzilla look, if you ask me. Oh, and the fact that his atomic breath is green, so that was really cool too. I do not know that much about this one. I could speculate, but I'm kind of gonna hold off on that one for now. My speculation powers, I'm kind of saving it for more projects that I want to talk about in today's stream. Now this one, Monarch Legacy of Monsters, it's an Apple TV Plus show. It takes place in the Monsterverse. I absolutely loved the first season. I understand why it's divisive. I understand why not all fans were into it. Me, I loved it. I thought it was like a true sequel to the 2014 Godzilla movie. And yet another divisive film, Godzilla 2014. Not only one of my favorite Godzilla movies, it's one of those films that I've come to really appreciate and understand in such a way that you love something when you can also go, okay, but here's also why it didn't work out, or here's what was holding it back from being like just an all-time classic. But I still loved it, but I feel like Monarch Legacy of Monsters really took what made Godzilla 2014 work and then expanded upon it. And it feels more like an actual sequel than 2019's Godzilla King of the Monsters. So I'm excited for season 2. It's supposed to be coming out sometime 2026. My guess would be next spring, so maybe around April or May 2026. But yeah, so I'm trying to think about like where they could go in the second season, because the first season takes place in 2015, so about a year after the events of Godzilla 2014. And I believe season 2 is supposed to take place on Skull Island, so my guess is it's happening before the events, or maybe during the events, of Godzilla King of the Monsters. Now, we all know by the time Godzilla vs. Kong comes around, Skull Island is basically, it's destroyed by a massive storm, and the comics, Kingdom Kong, which it's canon, last I checked. I know, I used the C word, canon. Oh boy. That storm was a kind of... King Ghidorah was indirectly responsible for it. There was this other kaiju, Kamazotz, who had been living in the subterranean depths of Skull Island, and then due to King Ghidorah's call to arms, Kamazotz woke up, and he's basically like the Titan of Darkness. And this guy not only started manipulating like the environment, he literally seized, he took control of this superstorm King Ghidorah generated, like this massive superstorm cyclone somewhere in the Southeast Pacific, and took it and just basically brought it over to Skull Island, and there it remained and started ravaging the entire place, to the point where the Iwi were forced, Monarch was there to help them evacuate. So I'm wondering if season 2 is going to start around there, because Skull Island, it's supposed to be Skull Island centered, so I'm definitely curious about this one, and I'm very looking forward to it. Again, I love the first season. And I'm hoping, this next season lives up to the first. OP God King, hello, good to have you here, my friend. Sean, you are sharing your favorite Godzilla movies. Gojira, Godzilla vs. Destroya, Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, giant monsters, all out attack. Sean, I feel like you and I would be best friends. These are great choices. Also, Godzilla vs. Destroya, I feel like that's become underrated nowadays. I mean, for a while, it was like a massive fan favorite, and then, it became something that a lot of people, sorry, Godzilla YouTubers, not to call out anyone, but it did become some sort of like fad where people would just bash the hell out of not only the Heisei Godzilla films, but Godzilla vs. Destroya. And of course, I'm not saying it's a perfect film or anything, but to me, like, it has its place. It's definitely a movie that I feel like has that changed the entire Godzilla series for the better. Just so I'm not completely drinking caffeine. Now, I'm not going to really go into a deep dive on the upcoming Godzilla Kong Supernova film. This might be the part where, I would talk about and speculate, Space Godzilla and all that. I'm trying to do more prep for a future video, but long story short, I don't think Space Godzilla coming to the Monsterverse is silly. Far from it. I mean, it's just I expect normies, like non-Godzilla fans, if anyone were to go, okay, talk to me about Space Godzilla, I feel like most Godzilla fans would kind of be like, oh boy, I mean, take a deep breath. Compared to previously where, your non-Godzilla friends are all like, hey, can you tell me about Mechagodzilla, or what's King Ghidorah? And Godzilla fans, we suddenly have a big, massive grin on our faces, and we're like, oh yeah, I can't wait to tell you that. I'll tell you everything. And, you try and, like, talk about, like, 50 million things, and, they're immediately, instantly regret. Just instant regret on their faces. But then, Space Godzilla. Space Godzilla. Ridiculous, right? Silly, right? Sure, but at the same time, it's just funny for, first to hear Godzilla fans call Space Godzilla silly. Like, Godzilla is, he can be silly. Not always, but he has been. I mean, Godzilla vs. Megalon is a silly film, guys. Godzilla can be silly. Kong can be silly. Monsters, giant monster. The genre itself can be silly. It's basically, like, one of the main building blocks of why this genre has lived and continued to evolve throughout the decades is because it can be campy, it could be fun, it could be all those things. So I'm basically going to make the case that Space Godzilla not only coming into the Monsterverse isn't silly, it's a damn good idea. It's going to be super fun. There's so much potential. And you know what? It's a great way to, like, invert expectations. Like, people could go in expecting Space Godzilla. Oh man, who's that? A Godzilla from space? That's ridiculous. And then they completely blindside you with a terrifying new depiction. So, we'll get to that in time. Until then, hit that like, my friends. Hit that like button. You know who you are. We got 6 likes. That's pretty good. But I want like double that, I'm hungry for likes. Just like I'm hungry for your attention and, your compliments and such. Oh man, I'm a little bit too vulnerable there. Shazam, my friend! It is really good to see you here. Remember 20 years ago when we had a huge Godzilla drought? Now he's everywhere and I love it. Also, do you plan to play Super Robot Wars Y since Godzilla SP Singular Point will be a huge part of the story? Okay, first off, Shazam touched upon the Godzilla drought. Some of you younglings, and I understand that if I were to shave right now, I would look like I'm still in high school. So I can definitely empathize, alright? I get it. But what I don't think many of you get, and I hope you never do, but post Godzilla Final Wars, which came out in 2004, up till about Godzilla 2014, there was hardly anything Godzilla happening. Every once in a while, like, we might get something new here and there, or some announcement that they're planning on bringing Godzilla back. But understand, Godzilla Final Wars was the 50th anniversary. I mean, it is still the 50th anniversary, but what made it such a big deal at the time is Toho was basically like, this is going to be our last Godzilla movie, possibly forever. Okay, I'm not sure if it was they really said the forever part, but it was they did state that, hey, we're done with Godzilla for and it's going to be quite a while now, until if he ever comes back. This was terrible. It's also why, like, I'm at times, I'm sure, as some of you have noticed, I can be very, like, super analytical when it comes to not just anything talking about Godzilla, but, like, when it comes to the fantasy fights, when it comes to Godzilla power fights, like power scaling and all this stuff, because this is what Godzilla fans, this is what we spent our time doing, man. I mean, message boards after message boards. I mean, there were so many different kind of topics, but it's also why for a while, not only on my own channel here, but why I've been for a while now kind of like reclusive when it comes to talking about this sort of thing, because I had spent the better part of a decade talking about everything Godzilla, and it's really hard to explain. And the reason, long story short, it's because of this drought. There was no new Godzilla stuff coming, so we would have to go back to everything that had already been made. And literally, I studied just about every Godzilla movie that had been made at that point, like frame by frame. I know it's Maybe I should have seen a therapist, but there you go. Now, as for Shazam, your second question, or maybe your first question, do you plan to play Super Robot Wars? Why? Since Godzilla Singular Point will be in it. Not really. I'm not really interested in Super Robot Wars. I am aware of it. Its reputation precedes it, and I've seen, I've done some little research into it here and there, but I'm not really interested in playing the game or anything. But I did hear about Godzilla Singular Point coming to it, and that's actually pretty exciting, because Godzilla Singular Point, I love that show. It's good, and we talked about some polarizing Godzilla films projects earlier in the stream, but Godzilla Singular Point, oh my goodness. You either love it, hate it, but no matter what, whether you loved it or hated it, did you understand it? The answer is no. And I've seen it many, many times. Okay, I do understand it better the more I watch it, but I guess what I'm trying to say is it's great to see more Godzilla Singular Point love. So, bring me more Godzilla Ultima. Shazam, I expect you to totally come back one of these days and be like, okay, Godzilla Singular Point just kicks ass. He's taking names. He's dominating Super Robot Wars, and fill me in. Let me know if I should reconsider my stance and give it another try. In other Godzilla news, there is this really amazing new Godzilla manga series called Godzilla Galaxy Odyssey. Now, Galaxy Odyssey, rumor has it, if you say that 10 times, Galaxy Odyssey, you're gonna get so tongue twisted you might end up looking like Gigan, which to me might be a compliment because I am well known for my sharp, good looks. Jesus Christ. Hey, I am allowed cheeky, dumb jokes, just saying. So, Godzilla Galaxy Odyssey, it's so good. It's so awesome. The new kaiju, the new space monster, Volga, love it. Great design, kind of looks like it could be in an Evangelion episode or Fight Ultraman. But you know what? They did the same thing with Godzilla Final Wars. Monster X, he looks more like an Ultraman villain, and Monster X was awesome. Honestly, I kind of felt like becoming Kaiser Ghidorah was Monster X was badass by himself. But Volga, he's even better. And this new manga series is so good. It's so good, guys. There's so many twists and turns, and man, you could tell that it's really well written. The characters are instantly likable. And I wanna cover it on the channel, but again, I'm trying to translate. I'm going through it's very time consuming to translate the chapters. I know there are some sources online. If you know where to look, you can find people who have already done the due diligence of providing not only English translations but actual scans with the English added to it. So I might try and talk to them, maybe even collaborate, but we'll see. But definitely, if you haven't yet, stop what you're doing, check it out. Godzilla Galaxy Odyssey is so epic, and it's gonna get even more it's gonna get crazier. There's so much that they're planning on doing. Let's see what else. Shazam says he loved Godzilla Singular Point. Did I understand it? Doesn't matter. Yes. You know what? That's that's the perfect answer. It's kind of like to take a joke. I'm gonna steal a joke from Hellsing Abridged, where they're like, how did you do that? F you, that's how. How'd you understand it? Doesn't matter. That's the only understanding you need. Godzilla Singular Point is awesome. It's also one of the few Godzilla one of the few Godzilla projects where I feel like my wife and I could just watch, spur of the moment. I could just put it on and it has our undivided attention, which is really quite saying something. Dino Girl for forever, good to see you here. Hi, I just found your channel recently, really enjoyed your video of the Space Godzilla comic. It was epic. Are you planning to go full-on talk panel by panel of Godzilla in Hell? Love the comic myself. First off, I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you for coming in, and I'm glad you enjoyed that Space Godzilla comic. That one was special to me because, one, lifelong Space Godzilla fan here, but also it was written, illustrated by my good friend Matt Frank. I've known Matt for quite a while now. We internet buddies, not like I've met him personally or anything, but you know, we do go way back. But he did such an incredible job on that, and of course he's kicking major ass on the new Mothra, Queen of the Monsters. I gotta literally, when I'm done streaming here today, I gotta go work on this script for the comic book breakdown of issue 4. But yeah. As for your other, like, am I planning on covering Godzilla in Hell? I've kind of gone over it in the past, but mostly streamed, just, you know, clashing with my fellow Godzilla nerd, fellow enthusiasts when it comes to, like, Godzilla, like, how powerful is Godzilla from Godzilla in Hell, but actually doing a breakdown, like, I have done sorry, I just learned how to talk today. I have done not a issue by issue breakdown of the series or panel by panel, but I have talked about, like, my favorite Godzilla comic book moments, and I do cover what I feel like is one of the best moments from the entire Godzilla in Hell run. So if you're interested, it's on the channel. Gotta pull up my chair, hang on. Oh my gosh, I shrunk. Sorry, after a while, you know, the more I talk about Godzilla, the heavier I become. So, you know, like, gravity increases, so my chair slowly starts sinking. Oh, good. So, Shazam, you've been reading Godzilla Galaxy Odyssey as well. Happy to hear that. Dino Girl Forever says Monster X is really cool looking. He's like a final boss of a video game. Agreed. Shazam did say I pre-ordered the manga on Baiyi. Ooh, I did not know it was already available for pre-order. Shazam, I had a question for you. Have you read the Ultraman Along Came a Spider-Man manga series? It is really good. It's so good. I mean, the volume 1 it's a physical copy release of volume 1 is out now. So if you haven't yet, and not just you, but anyone interested, the Ultraman Spider-Man manga is so good. I mean, the story is great, and the art is just, I could literally stare at it for days. It's so good. Shazam also says, I wish Godzilla Singular Point had fought Doctor Strange. Dude, I have no idea how that would go. But I feel like that, if of all the Godzillas Doctor Strange could fight, that, you know, I can't think of a more fitting pairing than that. That's really awesome. I love that idea. Sean says, you have the Godzilla mangas, right? There is a rumor that Destroya cut the moon in half in the Godzilla vs. Destroya manga. Can you confirm if this is true? Sean, I do have the entire Heisei Godzilla manga series. I also am hoping to scan them all and translate them all somewhere down the line and make not just a breakdown of them all, but also maybe talk about how they differ from the films, from their live action counterparts. As for, did Destroya cut the moon in half? No, I don't think that. I mean, I can double check, but I don't know where people are getting that from. What does happen is that Destroya comes damn near close to cutting poor Godzilla Jr. in half, which is, I mean, I'd rather the moon get obliterated than my boy Junior getting hurt, but yeah. I hate how the Godzilla IDW comics treat Destroya like a jobber. Yeah, Destroya absolutely deserves to be more of the final boss, but then again, he's also one of those characters that, like, strongly benefits from, you know, not appearing as the final boss or even as a, I don't know, as the kaiju muscle in almost every new Godzilla comic nowadays. Like, he really, it's kind of like, do you really want to bring out the kaiju devil again? It's kind of like DC supervillain Darkseid. You don't want to, you know, overuse him. Use him sparingly. Save him for grand conflicts. Okay, so we have another new announcement. Another new Godzilla crossover. Oh boy. Godzilla vs. Kaiju number 8. I am not really that much of an expert on the Kaiju 8 series. I tried, I think, reading the first chapter. I didn't dig it, but I might try again in the future. But this seems like a very fitting crossover. It makes sense. And I hope this is a sign that more Godzilla crossovers are on the horizon. I will talk more about those crossovers, not just future or hypothetical crossovers, but current ones, because it's what a time to be a Godzilla fan. All this puts a big massive grin on my face. I just love this so much. Again, kind of like what Shazam talked about earlier. The Godzilla drought. It pains me. It pained me. It just pains me to talk about. So like nowadays it's a complete reverse. It's a complete reversal. And I'm so happy about it. Also, coming out this upcoming Wednesday, July 23rd, the new Godzilla Kaisei series. Now, we've been enjoying quite a number of great, solid Godzilla IDW centered stories for several years now. I mean, Godzilla Half-Century War is still my number one, but Godzilla in Hell, Godzilla Rulers of Earth, Godzilla Cataclysm, you know, I could just go on. There's so many great Godzilla stories thanks to IDW Comics. Really, I think doing their part in expanding Godzilla and making him more of a huge pop culture presence. But I also feel like they've been kind of, as much as I love many of those stories, a lot of them are still kind of like, okay, been there, done that. This is kind of like a modern day retelling of some of the classic Godzilla stories we know and love. But this new Godzilla Kaisei series looks like they're truly going all out and just doing their own thing, something new, something imaginative. And it looks so good. Now, this is just, there's going to be 3 different stories, okay? One, the Godzilla Kaisei. This is what we're seeing here on the screen here. But there are 2 more. One that involves space travel. Looks like they're traveling around the kaiju universe, so you get to see some, I would say, some classic Godzilla aliens, species here and there, races, civilizations, but also kaiju as well. And then another where it's like there are parts of the country or the world that are not only highly radioactive, but also populated by kaiju and kaiju human hybrid, like monstrosities. It looks like it's right out of a Stephen King novel. It looks really good. So there's going to be like a whole series of these 3 main storylines of the Godzilla Kaisei series moving forward. And from what I understand with this one, they're bringing back, well, they're revamping G-Force. It's now going to be made up of a team of like superhumans. So it's kind of like what we saw with Godzilla Final Wars with Ozaki and the EDF mutants. But now some of these guys, look like they get their powers directly from Godzilla. The Kaisei, he's called Kaisei because it's a new, different type of energy that not only makes Godzilla super powerful, but seems to have an effect on some people as well. Also, Jet Jaguar, who I love, and I think we should we need more of. If he shows up in a future Monsterverse film, I'm game. But yeah, Jet Jaguar, he's part of G-Force for this new comic series, and that it's really cool. Love it, love it, love it. Dino Girl Forever said, thanks for saying hello. Oh, anytime. Again, thank you so much for being here, and the fact that you're all here right now is just like, it makes my day. It's just, I know, it kind of, I'm talking to myself, but I'm not, so it's also nice to just hear from you all. Thank you again. It's, whether you're here for like a few minutes or like for a few hours, it really does mean the world to me, so thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Hey, I followed you because of your room collection. Love your channel. Oh, thank you. If you need me to step out, like, and you just want to take a moment to just, you know, look at everything, yeah, I appreciate it. Definitely the behind me is the embodiment of years of work, of just like slowly collecting over time. Initially, as one of my good friends, Christian would say, like, he could tell all of you about how years back during the Godzilla drought, I was so against collecting Godzilla toys, figures, for reasons that I'm sure were very stereotypical or like dumb, like, oh, toys are just for children or whatever. But also because I thought, I don't like the idea of them just, you know, these figures sitting, you know, in suspended animation, right? They're just on a shelf. And even though that is the case still and now, I mean, see for yourselves, I started around 2016, 2017 becoming more into making stop motion animations, because for several years prior to that, I had, you know, gotten into doing filmmaking, becoming a visual effects artist, a motion graphics artist. I've done so many gigs at that point that, you know, I wanted to make more stuff for me, you know, and I started, you know, experimenting, and now I make Godzilla stop motion movies, and I love using these figures. And so now my vow, or what I tell myself to compensate for for this hobby, is I hope to make a stop motion project for every single one of these figures. But of course, some of them are really cool, so I use the same ones over and over, so here we are. Good year of 2019. It is good to see you here. Oh wait, you said something earlier. Isn't Godzilla Ultima's true form bigger than the universe? The whole Godzilla Ultima true form thing. Look, it's more, they go more into detail in the novel. The novel is written by like the series creator, writer, and I don't think bigger might not be the right word. I mean, we're talking about a being who's hypothetically like a higher dimensional being. So when we get into the, you know, what's bigger or smaller thing, size is like a matter, it's relative. So we're talking about a being who's attempting to enter our universe, and in order to do so, he's still kind of similarly to Void Ghidorah from the Godzilla Earth anime trilogy. Godzilla Ultima is still bound by the laws of our universe's physics, or I should say, this higher dimensional being is bound by it. Now, not to be confused with Pennywise the Clown, it and Godzilla Ultima are one and the same. Ultima, or his previous forms, less evolved forms, are the physical manifestations of this higher being entering our universe and trying to find a way to not only adapt to our physics, but release the red dust. It's called archetype, that begins to rewrite the laws of physics as we know it. And so it's basically trying to change our universe into something more akin to itself. Now, is it bigger than the universe? I have no idea. I can't, I mean, it's a higher dimensional being. I can't really imagine it. I'm just 3D, man. But it's kind of what the novel gets more into. And of course, it leads to a lot of drama back and forth. I actually think talking about Godzilla Ultima is more interesting though than just thinking about, oh, how powerful, what's his power level. I'm sure it's enormous. I'm sure its true form and all that is just scary powerful, but also it just gets into less things that we can really see, infer, and quantify, and more into it's kind of like talking about imaginary numbers territory, but I'm more interested in talking about Godzilla's singular point anyway than actually getting to all that nitty and gritty. Still, good question. Shazam says, not yet. I need to get it. He's talking about the Ultraman, Along Came a Spider-Man manga crossover. Thank you for reminding me. I know Dr. Doom is a boss in it. Yes, Dr. Doom, easily one of the greatest supervillains ever, who I hope shows up in Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe. Did you like that segue? I think that was a great segue. Dr. Doom, by the way, yeah, he kicks ass, and he is still kicking ass in that Ultraman Spider-Man manga, so I'm not going to go too much into that, but, yeah. Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe, written by Jerry Duggan. You'll notice over here in the right corner, why did I write his name twice or spelt it differently? That's just to help my ape brain pronounce his name, because before this I was pronouncing his name as like Gary Duggan or Dugan. I think that's what I was saying, but it's Jerry Dugan or Duggan. See, I did it. Ugh. All words are made up. Moving on. So Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe is really good. I just covered the first issue, and so many things happen in this that I'm going to talk about a little bit now. You're going to see more of my nerd side. I'm going to go full Ultra Instinct here on you guys. But man, oh man, as far as crossovers go, this is such a good one, and there's so much happening. So there's this story. This is, I think, last I checked, the #1 comic that has come out recently. Everyone's talking about it, and everyone has their own reasons for talking about it. I mean, from just a pure page turner fun ride to who doesn't love to see Godzilla kick the shit out of the Marvel universe or, superheroes. I mean, it's got a bit of everything for everyone. I gotta say, and I'm gonna go into more of the Godzilla Justice League crossover as well, but I'm gonna talk about just the idea of Godzilla now having, it seems like Godzilla is, you can't talk about Godzilla without talking about what a scourge of the multiverse he's become. This guy literally is going to universe different IPs and just trashing it. He's already attacked the DC universe. I mean, he killed Superman, fought the Justice League, or should I say humbled them. He's fought Marvel. I mean, he's been fighting Marvel since the 1970s, but now he's back and he's just gonna destroy it utterly. And he's fought the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I'm expecting any moment, just imagine, picture in your heads for a second, some group chat. You have Superman, Thor, the Avengers, and the Power Rangers. They're all talking about how this giant green rage monster kaiju just came over and beat the shit out of them, and now it's What do we do? Oh, you too? That happened to you? Was this your first time? You know, that kind of joke. And then Goku joins the chat and he's like, hey guys, can you tell me about Godzilla? And they're all like, no! Run! Which is the last thing you'd want to say to Goku, because as soon as you say that, he'd be like, hmm. And yeah, so I mean, just look at this shot right here. Godzilla, Captain America. This is easily my favorite shot, and you know, from the first issue. And the first issue, by the way, is full of a lot of great shots, but this one takes the cake for me, man. Let's see, Shazam, did you already talk about the potential Shin Godzilla sequel? Yes, I did. I see you and I kind of share similar... We have similar thoughts. You continued to write. I don't know how I feel about it. On one hand, I think the ending was perfect. On the other hand, I'm super hyped to see Joe Shin, you know, can evolve. You know what? That's pretty much a great way to summarize just what I said. Only I think you said it better than I did. So, yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't think that it's necessary, but again, I'm a hack YouTuber. I'm a hack Godzilla fan. I'm going to go see it anyway, so... Shazam also goes on to say, Jet Jaguar are going to be one of the main robots in Super Robot Wars. Just saying. Okay. Maybe I'll check it out. I mean, you have me at Jet Jaguar. I have a Godzilla shelf, and it inspires me when I look at them. Awesome! Yeah, you know what? I think that's a good approach there, especially when it comes to just being a collector. And it's good to, you know, being a collector, you're walking a fine line, you know, between, like, do you own your collection or does your collection own you? But a good way to maintain both, you know, that sort of space but also appreciation is, you know, it brings you comfort. It's a nice way to it's a great way to remember, you know, past experiences. Like, I can't tell you the number of times I could look at any of these figures or go around my home and find things from my childhood that just makes me, boom, just remember things that I hadn't remembered previously. Logan, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming. I'm definitely happy to currently not be going into full-scale Godzilla versus this character here. Who wins in this fight? As much as I love those discussions, man, I am still reeling from last week. I know I said at the start of the stream, hey, I spent the weekend just recharging my vocals and stuff, but man, I'm still... That was a lot. Totally prepping for a Millennium Era tournament, by the way. The Heisei Godzilla Battle Royal tournament was so much fun. Such a big success. Definitely doing a Millennium Era one. Tell your friends. Tell everyone. Ooh, Singular Point Godzilla is basically Thanos and Cthulhu mixed together. With a bit of Null, God of the Symbiote, in there too. But yeah. Oh man, I have more information here about the Godzilla Destroys the Multiverse stuff, but like, there's some other stuff I'm not going to touch upon now. Save it for maybe a future video. But long story short, there was like Jerry Duggan had a Ask Me Anything on a subreddit, and basically a lot of the main questions was, is Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe canon to the main Marvel 616 story? And he said he's confirmed multiple times that it is. which is cool. Awesome. Nice. Honestly, I feel like I'm part of the problem here. I've talked about things that are canon and not canon, but over time I've kind of realized it kind of doesn't matter. I mean, it depends, I guess, on the specifics, like the nature of your discussions, but man, Godzilla himself doesn't really have a true canon. So I understand Marvel's 616 universe is treated as the main Marvel canon, but then again, I feel like it had been surpassed, trumped by the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which has started changing the very Marvel Comics cosmology. So, blah, blah. But yeah, that's great. And I guess the writer Jerry Duggan has also talked about how the original Marvel 1970s run, the Marvel Godzilla 1970s story, is now it's connected to this new Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe, which is cool. Sorry, Shazam, your comment is hilarious. I said Thanos, but I really meant Darkseid. Sorry, I'm a fraud. You know what? I do think Thanos was a good choice, but Darkseid. Whew. Yeah, I mean, I'd say either works. Godzilla Ultima is I mean, it's funny because whenever discussion comes up in Godzilla circles about, like, is there really an evil Godzilla? And a lot of people will say Godzilla from GMK is evil, or -1 Goji is evil. I don't think those Godzillas are evil. GMK is driven by vengeful spirits, so he's kind of like not in control of his faculties. And -1 Godzilla is just a highly aggressive, pissed off, likely tormented, the creature that's in pain from surviving like an atomic bomb test to the face. So I don't think they're evil, but Godzilla Ultima, Godzilla Singular Point, yeah, that guy is evil. Oh man, Shazam, you're funny, man. I love having Godzilla versus discussions as long as it doesn't get toxic. Toho Kingdom PTSD. I do feel like I'm part of that problem. Like, man, I participated in so many, not just Toho Kingdom fantasy fights, but like back in the day for this website, Rodan's Roost, Kaiju File. Man, I love that stuff, but I feel like none of the crazy ego mania levels of discussion, or as you said, the toxicity levels have reached critical mass. I mean, in the past, like, it was so bad at times, even Destroya would be like, this is too toxic for me, guys, I'm out. But like, I guess I just never really, again, as long as you don't take it personally, realize what your motivation is. Like, why are you even doing this in the first place? Like, are you doing this to try and dominate, prove that these people are right? Okay, since we're talking about like online nerd stuff, I thought this image would be very, very appropriate. I'm gonna leave that up there. I'm not gonna say anything about it. I just feel like it's right. It's perfect. Man, guys, know your motivation. And this doesn't just apply to nerdy who wins in a fight, Godzilla power scaling discussions. This applies to any discussion, period. Whether it's in person, online, know what your motive is. Why are you doing this? Are you doing this to convince the other person that they're wrong? I don't know if this is, like, if you're aware, but while minds do change, generally speaking, having not only intense arguments, but ones that reach toxic critical mass is a real shitty way of changing someone's mind. And by being a shitty way, it doesn't work. It never works, man. It never works. It just emboldens you. It emboldens the other side. It pisses everybody off. And then everyone has like some sort of vendetta and shit. So for me, my motive was have fun. But younger me also had another motive. I really love challenges. And I wanted to challenge myself time after time. I wanted to see if I could maybe make a better argument than the other side. Which, again, this sort of thing, who wins in a fight between two imaginary characters, it's subjective. It's made up. But the arguments themselves, though, yeah, I think you can make a case that, yeah, that argument is good. That one makes more sense. And that argument sucks. But I do think, yeah, younger me absolutely did not help in that way, Shazam. I cringe at the thought of going back and reading some of my previous debates. Especially when, like, don't tell anyone. This is a secret that I'm now telling to a live audience. And I'm not going to change, I'm not going to remove this part. But I guess I'm going to continue on now. It would be awkward for me to stop, but in those debates, most of the time, or maybe half the time, I'm playing Ghidorah's advocate. Sure, do I think this character would really win in a fight? Probably not, but I'm going to debate on their behalf because I think it's funny. Was I being a troll? Am I the monkey? Am I the monkey? Only if that monkey has a smile on his face, maybe. Oh, man. You also mentioned, Shazam mentions, Tomzilla versus Inferno Rodan was top 10 anime battles back in the day. So, Tomzilla, that's still my username on Toho Kingdom, if you guys don't know. My name's Tom. You can see it right here. Tom. And yeah, my username, my internet alias was Tomzilla for a while now. And Inferno Rodan, I mean, I know him not well nowadays, but we talked a lot, you know, here and there behind the scenes. He was more aware of, like, my writings, my stories before the big shitstorm, dumpster fire, flame war debates that ensued. So, I gotta say, I respected the hell out of him. I have nothing, like, really critical to say. I actually like him. He's a very funny guy. And yeah, I've seen him. He's still active in some way. Like, our discussions, our debates, our back and forth, I do not regret. Like, as far as where the opponents go, yeah, he was probably my favorite guy to debate. And if I had to pick someone who I think is, like, the best kaiju debater, someone, I would absolutely give him the title. Inferno Rodan, kicked ass. So, yeah, I hope he's doing well. And yeah, we had a lot of geeky, nerdy fun. Back in the day, anyway. Hopefully I think things have definitely, like, chilled out. Like, you know, the older you get, you kind of have to be an adult and adult stuff. So yeah, Logan, you called it. The chimp slap keyboard. Yep. Will there be one Godzilla, or will the Godzillas be fighting each other in the Millennial Battle Royal? Yes, there's going to be more than one Godzilla. I actually had to cut a couple out because there's so many of them, but I also want to make room for other interesting participants. So stay tuned for that. Shazam writes, LOL, just rage baiting back in the day. I don't know what you're talking about. I can neither confirm nor deny whether or not I was rage baiting. I don't know. Maybe. It depends. You know, this stuff happened. This was during the Godzilla drought years, Shazam. The Godzilla drought got to us and made us do things, man. Messed with our minds. But yeah, there was plenty of times where I would just be like, okay, everyone seems to agree on who'd win here. I'm going to take the opposite stance. Let's see where this goes. And who can forget our, man, you guys may not know this, but many of us were always super divided on Godzilla Final Wars. I don't just mean like the fandom stance on it as a film. I mean like, again, in a versus battles, like quite a number. And again, the Toho Kingdom guys that I debated a lot, just so you guys know, there's like no beef. I respect the hell out of them. We're all on pretty good terms. Every now and then we head up each other, we talk to each other, you know, I consider them like my friends. They're online buddies, right? They're cool. But we were always super like divided on Godzilla Final Wars. either the kaiju, like either Godzilla Final Wars himself, I know Goji was like OP as shit, or he was one of the weakest Godzillas. Like it just, so many back and forth. Like it was an echo chamber, I admit, of my own design. I think Final Wars Godzilla is one of the strongest Godzillas, especially for live action. But not everyone feels the same way. And again, when it comes to these sort of things, guys, it's just an opinion thing. It's not something, again, I take personally. I do take it seriously. Nothing wrong with that. But I don't take this shit personally, man. Just try and laugh. Have a good time. But if you're going to debate, know your motives. My motive, not only to have fun, but I'm going to make a damn good, comprehensive argument. I'm going to bring my A game. And I hope you guys see that whenever I do these Godzilla power ranking videos. I have another one coming up again sometime in August. It's going to be a big-ass stream where I'm going to just go over them. And because there's been like dozens of new Godzillas, new additions, so I don't use facts and logic. I just try to make a comprehensive argument, and I'm just sharing this is how my brain works. Agree, disagree, cool. Leave a comment. Let me know. Speaking of crazy batshit Godzilla power feats, in the recent Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe, Godzilla killed a Celestial. He beat the shit out of it. He not only beat up a Celestial, he ripped its cosmic head right off. Insane, man. And yeah, I've been loving the comments. There are so many people, like, on one hand that are like, Godzilla's OP! Yes! Because, guys, do I want Godzilla to be the most powerful character in fiction? I mean, whatever the hell that means. I mean, sure, yeah, that would be badass. That's dope. Let's do it. Do I think he's the most OP character in fiction? Pfft, no. Is this not something cool, though? And is he on the way to maybe becoming in the top, top 10? Hell yeah. All the more power to the G-Man. Love it. But, man, there are also some people who are like, and again, this is an opinion thing, to each their own, but like, there are some who really, you could tell, don't like the fact that Godzilla is getting this strong, so they're like, it's a that's not a real Celestial. I mean, look, you can see cords and stuff, and dude, those are like bodily fluids. That looks like not an intestinal tract, but like those are organs. And yeah, Celestials, they can be either depicted as beings of pure energy, but then when you look at some more, I mean, the Marvel Judgment Day event had a Celestial be an organic kind of being. I mean, Marvel, the MCU has toyed around with this. I mean, the head from nowhere, the Nowhere head in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, he's clearly an organic cosmic energy being. I mean, Ego the Living Planet's a Celestial in the MCU. These characters change. This is what happens. So yeah, the story says this is a Celestial. It's also evidently canon. Godzilla can effortlessly destroy Celestials now. That's awesome. And I'm sure he's gonna pick greater fights with some of the other heavy hitters in the Marvel hierarchy, so I'm all here for it. Sure. Let's see, what else am I... Oh, Logan, you said something hilarious. Playing Destroya's Advocate is so fun. Ghidorah's Advocate, Destroya's Advocate. It's all good, man. I think it's a true test, too. I mean, one thing that I try to do nowadays is I try to steelman your argument. So, like, if we're in a back and forth, let's say, or maybe you disagree with me on something, I really do want to understand where you're coming from. And if I can get to the point where I can steelman your argument, and in case no one knows what that means, I want to be able to not only understand your argument, I want to be able to pitch it in a way that even you will go, wow, that's good. Yeah, I like that. Now, am I doing this to tear it to shreds and debunk it, put it in a box and smash it? No. Because there's a chance that your argument might be better than mine, so I'm going to do my best to steelman it and then go from there. But I do think some of the best ways of doing that is to play Ghidorah's Advocate. If you guys, any of you, are interested in these fun or petty, depending on who you ask, online squabbles, and you know what? I say go in and just try and play for the other team. Play for the other side. See what sticks. And that way, when you hear, you know, some people throw petty insults and say stupid shit at you, call you names, hey, this is not something you really believe. So that might actually help you, you know, cope with that and be, you know, super resistant to childish name calling. Also, for me, in my experience, when the, you know, the name calling begins, or you hear someone go, "You're not a real Godzilla fan," well, that's these people signaling you that they're not worth your time. Just ignore them. They want your attention anyway, so don't give it to them. Logan goes on to say, no one will understand being a child during the Godzilla drought. If I ever do a video on it, it would easily be the most depressing video I've ever made. Shazam says, people used to think Final Wars Kaiju were super weak. I was of the opinion that Final Wars Godzilla was just super strong. It's a bit hard because sometimes, again, filmmakers don't care about power levels. They do not care. Like, none of these directors, filmmakers ever thought that a bunch of people online are going to argue and debate about this sort of stuff, right? So they don't really care about this sort of thing. And honestly, it's one of those things where it could be a bit of both. The Final Wars Kaiju can be weak, and this Godzilla can also be super strong. It's not like these are mutually exclusive. Also, let's say the Kaiju are weak. Final Wars Hedorah and Ebra are super weak. I agree. I don't think they're noteworthy. I never wrote home about them. Even when I was playing Ghidorah's Advocate, I didn't really argue on their behalf. But you know what? They're still Kaiju, and they're still made out of imaginary mass, so when Final War Godzilla is blasting them across the cityscape, that's something you can factor in and calculate for his benefit. That's it. It's kind of like, let's say I'm bench pressing 300 pounds. And I bench it, I get it up, and I'm like, yeah, I benched it, I'm strong. And someone comes up and goes, yeah, well, that bench press never fought you back. It didn't hit back. It's also really weak. It doesn't change the fact that I just lifted it, right? Gojira 2019 writes, one time I said Rodan was as stupid as Purple Sheep because he attacked Ghidorah. Then a toxic person said, you're a purple... Oh, I think I know what you're saying. You know nothing about Rodan, which is meant not smart, stupid. I see what you're saying. Yeah, look. When it comes to fighting toxicity or just shitty-ass people, and sadly there seems to be no limit to how many people can get really shitty. I mean, You do not ever have to respond to them. You never have to. You can ignore them. You can continue to do what you are doing and just, express yourself and then be on your way. Obviously, it gets worse if these people are like in your face, and that could be a different discussion in itself. But I'm just talking exclusively online. But ignoring an abusive piece of shit doesn't always work, especially if they are obsessed with you, or there's something going on, or it gets into the whole stalker thing. That's like an elevation of my experience. Like, I never had to deal with that sort of thing. I'm just talking about people who are calling you names and shit because you expressed an idea, a view that they disagreed with, and they happen to think their opinions, and yes, their opinions, whether they like it or not, suck it up, buttercup. These are opinions. And if they can't accept that, and they're going to be assholes about it, screw them. They're not worth your time. Do not dignify these losers. Your time, let me just put it this way. We have finite amounts of fucks to give, okay? And I'm not going to waste a moment with losers who can't comprehend the fact that the world doesn't revolve around them. Their opinions are not important. I don't think my opinions are important. I'm not doing this because I feel like I need to, or this is my calling. I'm not doing this because I believe that my opinions on Godzilla, on Godzilla's power level is the best in the universe and everyone needs to convert now. No, this is, again, for fun, and I love expressing myself, and I love Godzilla. That's it. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. And if you can't handle that, there's the exit door. If you're going to stay and continue to try and make everyone dumber by, sharing your piss poor takes, you're going to most likely be wasting your time because I'm going to ignore you. It's funny because YouTube gives me a chance to basically, instead of blocking certain users, I can make it so that nobody sees their comments. But they're still going to keep sharing them anyway because they can't control themselves. I can't think of a worse punishment for somebody, for like a narcissist, for someone who's full of himself. But yeah, usually, even for the more serious things, like someone who really has a vendetta against you, and I've had to deal with these people in the past who literally saw something that I wrote somewhere, be it on like Twitter or X or on a Facebook group, that they would follow me into some other thread, some other group, or some other message board and talk shit. Usually, ignoring them works. They are unworthy of my time. They don't deserve it. But if it does get serious, like to the point where it's like, wow, I do have to block you, and now you're creating new accounts and there's something seriously wrong with you, I will humiliate you to no end, and then I will ignore you all again. It's just like that. But again, it's not always the same for everybody. Toxicity can unfortunately have even more serious effects. It is a fact that when you're dealing with an abusive piece of shit, giving them any attention, anything whatsoever, if you give them a little bit, they will try and take so much more from you. It's why my main advice, as I've said already, but I'm going to reiterate it again and again, ignore them. And of course, this gets into personal real life drama stuff. Don't respond back on that text. Don't return that call. Now, if it gets to a in-face person, like they're in your face, I've had to deal with that myself. And I have to be both very thorough, use my words carefully. I'm going to state and then restate that I want nothing to do with you, leave me alone, lose my number, all of that. And then I'm off. You'll never see me again, that kind of thing. It sucks, and it sucks that these people seemingly are not living great lives. Like, they're letting their lives go to waste so that they're trying to make the rest of us feel miserable. But I love how we're having this topic. You know, we're talking about Godzilla toxicity in the fandom, all while there's this shot of Godzilla tearing off the Celestial's head. That, to me, is symbolic. You see what Godzilla's doing to that Celestial? You want to do that to that toxic loser who keeps giving you shit? Well, don't actually literally tear off their head as much as you want to. It's more like hitting that ignore button or hitting that like button. If you hate toxic losers in the Godzilla fandom, drop me a like. Dino Girl Forever said, I agree with what you said in the comic of Space G versus Ghidorah. We need to team up with Godzilla and Space G, like you said, with a whole story arc. It'd be pretty epic, and I'd buy a day one release. You know what? Yeah. I really do love the ideas of, Godzilla teaming up with some of his worst enemies. Space Godzilla being one of them. I feel like there's just so much potential there. I mean, here's a premise right here. Like, due to some unforeseen circumstances, Godzilla and Space Godzilla both find themselves adrift through time and space. Maybe they got sucked through a black hole or something, and now they're trying to find their way back, or they're traveling through a whole universe full, or a whole dimension full of monsters that are beyond even their nightmares. And they have no choice but to team up, find their way back. I mean, Godzilla's trying to get back to Earth because it's his home. Space Godzilla wants to get back there to destroy it and or conquer it. But for now, they got to work together. These sort of stories, this is what the comics are for. And I hope to see more of that in the future. But yeah, I'm glad you liked that video too. That Godzilla Rivals, where, Space Godzilla fights King Ghidorah is just, it's one of IDW's best. And easily my number one Godzilla Rivals comic by far. Shazam writes, the people coping and seething about Godzilla stomping their favorite is so funny. It makes me want to rage bait also, but I don't yet. Look, as much as I had fun, you might notice that I don't rage bait nowadays. I mean, Shazam, you know me from back in Toho Kingdom. That's where things were so much smaller in scale. It's just a message board, right? It's limited to just one part in a message board where only 10 people are active. To me, as I make content that's geared towards people of all ages. And though, yeah, I've been, a bit more, I'd say this stream has become a bit more mature, mature audiences only, right? But I'm absolutely not gonna try to, I don't like the idea of playing Ghidorah's advocate most of the time, especially in these sort of things, because one, right now I could talk to you, you can hear me, and I can make it clear. I'm sure you can understand where I'm coming from, but reading text on a screen, we tend to immediately jump to some terrible conclusions about the other side. And it's so easy to talk shit. It's so easy to assume the worst. But, that is another human being, and though we were just talking about toxic people, toxic losers that think they're, Godzilla's gift or whatever, but most of the people you're disagreeing with, I don't think are bad people, and I think, there are misunderstandings happen. So I don't personally want to do that, but if you did that, I wouldn't object. I'm not going to proceed, good sir. Please make a Godzilla drought video, a deep dive on how desperate we were for a crumb of Godzilla news until 2014 Legendary saved us. You know what? I might. Maybe I will. Add that to my upcoming 50 project list. I have so much, guys. I have a planner. Maybe I'll show it to you guys, but I have a planner for not only the summer, for like the next couple years. And of course, there's plenty of room for other stuff that I might, spur of the moment, I need to do this, right? So yeah, I'll add that. Why not? Everyone was so toxic during the drought. People would argue who is the biggest Godzilla fan based on the merch they had or knowledge they had on Godzilla. It was insane. And now it's kind of made even worse by the fact that there is no Godzilla drought, and there are still people who have the whole, like, you're not a true fan, or I'm the biggest Godzilla fan. Like, you want a medal? Okay, you're the biggest Godzilla fan. Cool. You're a true Godzilla fan. Sure, I'm the biggest hack. Now what? Are you gonna... You've already wasted my time. Are you going to waste your time arguing with some Godzilla nobody, some inferior ranked class Godzilla fan or something? Like, what's your point? What's the end game? I don't see the appeal. I was never a fan of Space G simply because the music and pacing in Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla is awful. Yeah, look, Space Godzilla, I'm a big fan of the Space Godzilla character. I mean, as evident by my projects with him, but like the movie itself is not one of my favorites. And I studied that movie to death for my Space Godzilla debates back in the day, so yeah, it might be another 10 years before I watch that movie from beginning to end, so yeah, I don't know if this is agree or disagree. Leave a comment. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to more Godzilla conquering the multiverse. Justice League versus Godzilla vs. Kong came out last year, and it did so well that they have renewed it, and now we're about 2 issues in, and it's compelling stuff. I mean, Godzilla fighting a giant size king shark. We just saw Kong fight a giant killer croc. It's all good fun, man, and I can't wait to see what happens next. The last issue left on a cliffhanger and kind of implies we might be seeing Scar King and then possibly Shimo. That would be cool. We're supposed to be seeing King Ghidorah, Rodan, and Mothra join the party, so that also is all that's all great news to me too. So yeah, there's a lot to love. There's a lot to look forward to. And I guess to bring some closure to the whole talking about toxicity in the Godzilla fan community, and believe me, if we think we have it rough, I mean, I've been complaining. I mean, have I been complaining? Sure. About dealing with people who don't have a life, that because, you know, they didn't like my opinion on Godzilla's power level or who'd win or something, they're name calling or questioning whether or not I'm a true Godzilla fan or some shit. That's nothing. That is absolutely nothing. Like, to some of my friends who have had to put up with so much worse. Like my friends in the LGBTQ plus community who have had to deal with not only petty personal attacks, but people who have threatened them. Like, and not to mention, like, if you're a Godzilla fan and you're a girl, this community can be a scary place. The shit they've had to put up with, the stories, like they trusted me enough to share with, like, I'm not going to go into detail now, but like, man, be safe out there. Look out for one another. I mean, here I am having fun. I'm just doing my thing. But make no mistake, like, you really should, if you have any friends who are LGBTQ plus, women, minority groups, marginalized groups, like, look out for them. Reach out to them. See how they're doing. Defend them. I'm all about ignoring losers who are trying to ruin my day, especially when they're trying to attack me personally. But if you're coming at my friends It's war. I have their back. I'm not going to put up with this shit. I'm going to call you out. And if you do that, you and your buddies, it needs to be like there's strength in numbers. These people need to feel shame. They need to feel like if they log on today, they're going to get bombarded. They're going to get spammed to hell by people basically reminding them that their bigotry is not welcome here. Change or run away. Those are your only two options. I'm not playing. I'm not kidding around. Oh, looks like Shazam and Logan might be talking about the Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla original soundtrack. I personally liked it, but again, I really don't feel the need to protect it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna like Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla is not a hill to die on. if that makes sense. I'm not gonna go out of my way to protect. I'm not like I love the Space Godzilla character. I will argue on his behalf. I believe Space Godzilla coming to allegedly coming to Godzilla Kong Supernova is a great idea. I don't think it's silly. I can see why people think it is. But Space Godzilla is such a cool concept of a character. Not only it's kind of like exploring the evil Superman, trope, which has been done to death. But Space Godzilla could become more. There's so much potential to this character. I've explored it in my Space Godzilla videos. Space Godzilla Prodigal Son. I changed the Space Godzilla origin story. If you want to know what I mean by that, check it out. I think it's my best stop motion video yet. And of course, in my Mechagodzilla versus Destroyer versus Space Godzilla movie, I didn't revamp his origins for that, but as far as creatively speaking, I feel like I began to touch upon more of the Space Godzilla cosmic terror kind of ideas. I played around with it, especially in the end, but I do think Space Godzilla becoming a Lovecraftian cosmic terror is fair game. I think that's the right approach. Shazam wrote, one of the drawbacks of a once small community drawing so rapidly. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like being in a small town, right? That's basically the same thing, only, you at least have the benefit of not having to put up with these people face to face, but yeah. Now, I'm all about being inclusive. I have thick skin. I welcome challenges. I welcome people sharing opinions that I may not agree with. But man, we're all people at the end of the day. Not only fellow Godzilla fans, but human beings. And I want you all to feel like you belong. I want to hear from you all. And maybe someday collaborate, in some way. But I know not everyone shares that same sentiment. And I wish I could say I was I'm like Superman. I believe in, goodness in everybody. I don't genuinely believe that. I think there are people who develop a sort of obsession, a toxic obsession, whether they know it or not, or they might say gatekeeper, trying to tell me what to say or believe. You think I'm being toxic? Yeah, you must be one of those libtards or something. Experience has taught me that these people, if they're ever going to be better people, and I still leave the door, maybe not the back door, open for them someday, but maybe a hypothetical door could open for them sometime in the future, you know, if they do come back and they, you know, they apologize and they are genuinely better people now, you know, that I leave that, you know, there's room for growth there. I leave that as an opportunity. But like, I'm not going to save my breath. I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm not going to think that's going to be the case now. Like, there are truly terrible people who will not change ever, but they want everyone else to bend to their will. And to that, I say, no. F you. There's the door. Bye. I'm not going to waste my time trying to, what, save someone? We're talking about real basic stuff, right? Very basic social cues, like just not being a douchebag. That is like, that's not even like, that's like, when it comes to passing the litmus test, that's like as basic as writing your name on the test paper. That's like not even common sense. That's just like, if you can't even be a decent human being, why should I waste my time? Why should anyone? Logan writes, men are terrible in every community. I know this is a Godzilla stream, but as a queer non-binary, I could easily talk shit about toxic men for hours. Yeah, I hear you, man. It really touches upon something that goes beyond just, you know, Godzilla talk, right? Hi, welcome to our chill stream. We're gonna talk about some serious shit. But it is important to talk about. It's important to raise that awareness. It's important to make sure we are united and that we stand together and communicate. When someone is being a complete asshole, like an insufferable prick, and they're doing more than just like saying, I'm not talking about like, you're not a true Godzilla fan. I'm talking about the people that are discriminating. We need to nip that shit in the bud. You are painting a target on your back when you're being a complete repulsive human being to another human being. When you're attacking another person for their immutable characteristics, for their beliefs, for their politics, for their religion, for their identity. Fuck you. That I say that without shame. I'm all in on fighting toxic losers. Like, let's face it. And most of these losers are indeed men. Why are they losers? Why are these men? Why are we having such a problem? This is where I get into the, I'm not going to jump on the men are evil or men are the problem bandwagon that we might be seeing nowadays. I think there is a true problem for young people, for young boys in this country. They do need better role models than the toxic garbage that we've been seeing. I'm not gonna name them, but I think the initiated, I think we all know the list of people that are terrible role models for these young boys. But we need, I think one of the best ways for us to make things better, to make things right, to be a good role model for these young guys, for these boys who maybe it's because they don't have a father. I don't think that's a great excuse, and I don't think that is like, well, it's not the nuclear family, that's why they're the way they are. Your boy here was raised by a single mother. I did not have a father, but I had father-like figures. It's about having a healthy community. It's a socioeconomic problem too. You want a solution? Improve socioeconomics. That's another thing. But it's about being aware, in touch with yourself. Know thyself. Be familiar with your emotions. Don't be afraid to tell someone that you love them. So many of these guys who were raised believing that emotions are a sign of weakness, empathy is a weakness, have grown up to be pitiful, miserable people. And they don't know it. If you can't, if you don't understand yourself, if you don't understand your own emotions, you're not going to understand others. You're not going to understand other people, which cuts you off from the human race. And we are social creatures. It is in our DNA. It's who we are. It's also in our arts. It's in our culture. And there is a severe problem where we are not taking good care of each other. So the first step, I think the main way to help young boys, young men, empathy, compassion, kindness. Superman! Y'all love that segue, right? Was that good? That was unscripted. That was a bad snap. That was magic right there. Oh boy. We are a little over 2 hours in. I do want to talk about Superman, but honestly, man, I want to talk more. I want to go into it more, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I'm kind of running out of running out of energy here. I guess guys, I'm gonna take a few minutes. I'm still gonna stay on stream. Yeah, okay. See, I'm debating in real time whether I want to talk about the movie or not. Can I just say, the new Superman movie is so damn good. I loved it so much, and I love Superman about as much as I love Godzilla. So, seeing Superman depicted, truly, like, seeing a movie that fearlessly depicts Superman the way he ought to be, as a kind, loving soul, man, it brought tears in my eyes. I'm so happy that this movie is not only exists, but other people love it. And I'm talking about, I know people, friends, family, that for years I've talked about how much I love Superman, how much he means to me. Like, I could talk about All-Star Superman, I could talk about my favorite moments from Superman, you know, just moments that define him, not only as a, you know, one of my favorite characters, but a true inspiration. And art, it not only imitates life, art inspires life. And Superman has had such a positive effect on me. I mentioned I had been raised by a single mother, and I love her. My mom kicks ass. She's my superhero. My real life superhero. But I grew up watching Christopher Reeve Superman, watching the Superman animated series voiced by Tim Daly. This man's my hero. Like, I know he's not real, but I love Superman so much. And, you know, the original tagline, the original film, the original Christopher Reeve movie tagline is, "You'll believe a man can fly." And I feel like for this one, you'll believe in kindness. Or as Superman says, kindness is the new punk rock. Oh, God. Shazam, you're funny, man. Come on, Tom. Getting tired is weak. Keep this stream going forever. I am, unlike Superman, I am a mere mortal. So, I am not ashamed to admit I absolutely can be weak. I wanted to also mention something Logan said here. This country needs better mental health care, and men need to introspect more in general. Absolutely, 100%. Yes. Yes. And this is one of many reasons why I love this new Superman movie. Throughout the movie, Superman, the most powerful metahuman on the planet, he introspects. He shares his emotions. He's got invulnerable skin. Yet, he doesn't see, empathy, compassion as a weakness. Expressing yourself is not a sign of not only weakness, but it's not only a sign that you're a pushover. As Superman says in the end, like, I'm as human as anyone, and that's what not only he's proud of, it's his greatest strength. This sent chills down my spine. God, the actor David Cornsweet playing Superman Clark Kent, delivering quite possibly the greatest performance as Superman since the late Christopher Reeve himself. Honestly, I think this Superman movie is my favorite. I think it's the best Superman movie made yet. Because it just gets Superman, the entire Superman mythos, and it not only understands it, it celebrates it. But you know what I think separates this Superman from all the others, and what makes this one like the perfect Superman, that makes him my Superman? That's our Superman right there, is the fact that, in the past, Superman's been depicted as, a messiah, a god meant to inspire humanity to become better. While that's all well and good, the problem with being the man of tomorrow is, well, most of us might not live long enough to see tomorrow. Superman, he represents hope, but the only hope many of us have is hoping we become better people someday, or so that's what we're led to believe. Someday I'll be a better person. Oh, I need to take better care of my health. I'll do that next week, or maybe I'll wait for a New Year's resolution. That's when I'll give up smoking. I'll give up drinking. I need to get a better job, and I need to help provide for my family. Someday, someday, I'll be a better person. As Jarrell said in the Christopher Reeve original regarding humanity, they can be good people, Kal-El, if they wish to be. They only lack the light to show them the way. But you know what? This Superman, he's not distracted by what we could be, what our potential is, what we, not only as individuals, but as a race, what we could end up being tomorrow, or a decade from now, or a century from now. He loves us the way we are. In the here and now, he loves us. And you know what? There are many humans in the film that are living proof that Superman is right. Like, I'd say Malik Ali, the civilian who after Superman gets thrown nearly through the street, he's lying in an impact crater. This civilian, this man, Malik, he risks his own life and rushes and helps Superman get back on his feet. Malik is a true testament that Superman is right to believe in not only the better angels of our nature, but like the good in humanity. He doesn't just believe in the better, like, tomorrow you, like what you could be, but who you are now. And Man, you know what else I loved? I loved how throughout the film Superman took time making sure others were safe, and not just other humans, people, but like during the kaiju attack, he stopped to make sure everyone on an office floor was okay after the kaiju like tried to burn it down. He saved a squirrel. He was worried about Crypto, who stole the show. Even though that dog had given him nothing but trouble, Superman was so worried about Crypto. The thought about Crypto being scared, like, he wanted to do everything he can. I mean, he even wanted to save the kaiju. Superman is a real Boy Scout, and we love him for it. We would have him being no other way, but man, like, he's just one of the... He's one of the greatest characters not only ever made, but one of the best inspirations, as far as fictional characters are capable of. Oh god. Shazam says, this stream has become far too sappy. Since I'm bald and therefore, nothing to lose, I will become Lex here and ruin everything. Yeah, Lex Luthor in this is, well, first off, Nicholas Hoult nailed it. I mean, Nicholas Hoult is a great actor. I've seen him play like Henry McCoy, Beast from X-Men First Class. He's been in Renfield. Love that movie. It's great. But man, Nicholas Hoult in this, brilliant casting. Lex Luthor, he was manipulative, deceiving, highly intelligent, but for all the wrong reasons. Unmistakably irredeemable. This man has no redeeming qualities whatsoever. He's got a dangerous cult following, remind you of anyone's, plural, and a self-destructive, impulsive ego. Everything about this new DCU Luthor, from the way he's written to Holt's electrifying performance, it just chef's kiss. And God, man, Rachel Brosnahan, her Lois Lane, she is my favorite film adaptation of the Daily Planet's Star Reporter. As far as top contenders go for live action depictions, she's in great company. Smallville's Erica Durance and Superman and Lois's Betsy Tollick embody the strongest, most compelling traits of Lois Lane. But man, I think Rachel Brosnahan is my favorite. Superman's motto is truth, justice, and the American way. And as of late, he's become more truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. Because the truth is, the American way no longer seems, at least as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to the people we vote into power, they don't seem to value truth and justice. So we're all about better tomorrows here. Because Superman loves all people, not just Americans. But you know what? I think truth, justice, and a better tomorrow, that motto, that saying, is more applicable to Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane. And what happens when Lois Lane's unstoppable pursuit of truth meets Superman's unshakable love and trust in others? You get one of the best scenes in a comic book movie. I'm, of course, talking about the scene where Lois Lane and Clark, Superman, they have an interview. It's at the beginning of the movie, and it's so good. Hands down, one of the best character introduction scenes in a comic book film. And you know what makes this movie so good is that it has multiple character-defining moments for its main cast. And this one was a great defining moment for both Superman and Lois Lane. Everything about this scene just works. We learned so much about Superman and Lois in their back and forth, what each of them represent, the core beliefs of these characters. and why it matters, not only to them as individuals, but as a couple. And of course, what's made even better is that they still develop as characters. There's just so much to these characters. And though this scene perfectly encapsulates where they are in that exact moment, it becomes a catalyst for future development. I will say, I do wish we got to see Superman stopping the military invasion. The big scene, that we only hear hilariously of Superman saving another country, seemingly imposing himself on the sovereignty of another nation. Sorry, I don't think you're actually imposing yourself on your so-called sovereignty when you're wrongfully invading the sovereignty of another country. I do think this should have been the opening scene, but then again, you know what, comic book fans, we're all Superman fans, we're very familiar of Superman intervening. I don't think interfering is the right word, but intervening in geopolitics gone awry. I mean, Superman Earth 1 did it and such, but I feel like this scene, though, was between Superman and Lois became like it had its own continuation, its own sense of closure later, because both characters had reached a point where this was the first real challenge in their relationship, in the dynamics of what makes them who they are. Are they compatible? Both of them may have had some doubt. Well, Lois did. Superman probably, I'd say, had a bit more faith in their future at the end of their first major chat or disagreement. But it all came back. There, and I love this touching moment between Superman and Lois, which hilariously in the background we could see the Justice Gang, Mr. Terrific, Green Lantern, and a Hawkgirl fighting this interdimensional imp. Ooh, I wonder who that could be. And just absolutely love these characters, and it's so touching. It's so, from Superman's previous line when asked, you know, why did you do what you did? Why would you do this? And Superman basically, people were going to die. As far as motivation goes, that's all you need. Why would you do this? Because you care. You value life. But then, in this conversation between the two of them, it's clear that they have way more in common than they thought. And their unique perspectives, their motivations. Superman believes the best in everyone. Lois is skeptical. She wants the truth. She's driven by it. And so there's a bit of a rift, but they're not mutually exclusive. Because Lois, being an investigative journalist, she looks at the evidence. Throughout the film, the evidence becomes crystal clear. There is evidence, there is truth in valuing and empowering empathy in others. Not to mention, the kaiju fight was a massive... I'm totally not biased when I say this. In fact, being a kaiju fan, the creator of Kaijutopia, I'm not biased when I say this. I'm just highly educated on this topic at hand. But Superman fighting a giant kaiju? Music to my ears. I asked several of you, the Kaijutopia community, to come up with, help me name this thing. This is a list. There are some really good names here, name suggestions, because as of right now, this kaiju is just simply called kaiju. James Gunn hasn't told us, what its name is. I mean, there was a news headline in the movie in universe that calls him just simply Thing. But man, yeah, the Superman taking on the kaiju, all while trying to save not just people but everyone, while also simultaneously trying to find ways to save the kaiju. This entire sequence, you could just show this to me, and I think that in itself tells you exactly what you need to know, not only about Superman as a character and how he's depicted in this movie, but whether or not the movie is good. And absolutely, this movie is amazing. Oh, well, I just started jumping ahead. Let me just... There's so much I want to talk about with this movie, but, you know, I got to see it more and more to truly come to appreciate it. There are so many good channels out there that have provided excellent coverage of this video that not only provide great Easter eggs or breakdowns of the story and the plot, but, like, when it really comes down to it, this movie is just one of the best comic book films ever made. I am so... It just makes me happy, okay? It just makes me happy. As a Superman fan, I give it my full seal of approval. And I so wish I could go into another... like, I don't know how long that was of me talking about this. I wish I could talk about this movie all day. Maybe I will. You want a Superman stream? We'll have a Superman stream. You want a massive video of me talking about how Big Blue is just the greatest hero, the greatest superhero? Sorry, Batman. Sorry, Spider-Man. It's Big Blue. It's Superman. I will totally do that someday, but we are coming near the end, so guys, let's talk about some upcoming projects I got for you. So this is a screen grab from a previous stop-motion movie I've done, but I thought it would be apropos of what it is that I have in store. I want to do a kind of like a new series of videos that talks about not only, you know, how powerful certain monsters are, their history, their, you know, their powers, abilities, and such, but basically contingencies on what you could, like, what contingencies could be used to stop them. So I thought Godzilla powering up like a Super Saiyan would be a very apt description of that. Currently working on a Bagan stop motion. It's very short. It's really just for those of you who, well, love my stop motion videos and you want to see some real eye candy visuals. This short delivers, I think so. But also, I am planning on expanding a, you know, Bagan in a future stop motion project. Yes, I am going to do a Super Godzilla Bagan stop motion versus battle. Hopefully I can get to that someday. Shazam, I don't want to ruin your Bagan hype, but I respect you guys enough to just tell you straight up. This is a short stop motion. Bagan does not fight. There's not like a super powered beatdown battle. But it does look awesome, and I hope you like it. And finally, I have not revealed this to anyone yet, so you guys are the first to see it. I am still working on Gamera, Herald of Mothra. It is a little fan film sequel to Gamera 3, but with a Mothra twist. This is Gamera, as you can see, surrounded by, well, a city on fire. So, this one, I know the original plan, I'm so sorry guys. The original plan was for me to take a break from streaming soon and get started on a VFX tutorial, but I'm going to have to save that for another day, another session. But I do owe it to you guys, so stay tuned for that. I am trying, I am going all out on Kaijutopia content here. I have multiple stop motion projects not only in the works, but I'm working on right now. It's not just Bagan, it's not just Gamera, there are others. But stop motion takes, because, well, gotta keep the channel lights on, right? Gotta appease those YouTube algorithmic gods somehow. But man, there is so much that's gonna happen. Gamera Herald of Mothra is this channel's next gigantic stop motion project. It's so ambitious. It might become a two-parter. I don't know. It will absolutely not be ready in time this year. Expect a release sometime next year. There is so much happening for this project. I'm not going to go into the detail because you do not want to be spoiled. But I can assure you, it will look awesome, it will sound awesome, it will be awesome. And there's so much more that I'm doing that will still be awesome. Everything's awesome. There's that song. Hopefully this stream doesn't get copyright striked for me uttering that, but yes. But I really do want to keep the stop motion projects coming. They're not only my bread and butter, right? But I just love them. They're projects that I'm super passionate about, and yeah, there are more on the way. I want to do a Godzilla Kong Space Godzilla stop motion. I might do that. I have a Godzilla vs. Cthulhu stop motion project. Storyboard's almost complete. I want to do Godzilla vs. Superman. I would love to make a stop motion adaptation of Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe, so expect that one someday. There's so many more, but yes, Super Godzilla began. It's coming our way, guys. It's gonna be fun. Alright, my friends. We're nearing the end. I'm gonna answer some questions here. But before I leave, might as well just throw this out here. If you would like to support the channel, you could support the channel by hitting that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Many people who watch my videos actually are not subscribed, so rectify that, my friends. Rectify that. Change that. Subscribe today. If you can, if you got them, if you could spare them, spare some change, consider supporting Kaijutopia. You can send a dono, you could become a member. But you know what? Just by you guys being here, just by watching the video, if that's your way of supporting the channel, I am thankful and appreciate everyone. I appreciate all of you. All right. Everyone, it's been great. It's been a great stream. Next couple days, I guess I'll try to pick it, release it in different, videos, content, all that stuff. I got more on the way. Last week's Heisei Godzilla Power Tournament. I got some. I've made smaller videos of certain matchups, so if you're into that sort of thing, those will be coming out in the next couple weeks. And of course, yeah, more kaiju comic book goodness, and more. I mean, it's not only a great time to be a Godzilla fan, but man, if you love my channel, if you love what I do, first off, thank you, appreciate it. I have more coming for you guys. It's gonna be a fun, ambitious summer. So, all right, my friends, it's been great. I hope you all take good care of take care of each other, take care of yourselves. I appreciate you. You matter. You guys rock. And I'll see you all later. Peace.